Recently, we've seen a ton of action happening in the crypto markets, but things are starting to appear to be slowing down. But guys, do not switch off for 1 minute. There's something very exciting that's going on with these 3 altcoins. I'm going to talk about those as well as where I think they're going to go in this video. So hit that like button and let's get into it. So guys, this news I want to bring you first of all is understanding where the money is flowing right now. We're seeing larger scale investors starting to put money into a number of different cryptocurrencies. And if you're wondering which ones those are, well, then you need to come across to crypto bubbles. The amount of growth that we're seeing in crypto right now isn't due to more people, retail investors like yourself and myself, arriving in the space. There's very few people who are just onboarding into crypto right now. So the money is mostly coming from bigger scale investment. And as we look at this chart, you can see a number that are catching our attention. One, we know XRP obviously had that phenomenal bit of news the other day from the SEC. XLM bounced well because of that as well. And since the start of the year, we're seeing Solana having a real big boom towards the upside. Now, yes, there's other ones on this chart, but why those 3 coins have my attention? Well, guys, because what I've told you throughout the year is the life of the underdog in crypto. Solana, some because of the FTX stuff, XRP because of the stuff with the SEC, and then XLM obviously connected with XRP in that way. Now, if we come across to this news article, where we can see some very interesting things. Here you can see assets under management with products relating to XLM are up $17 million, and that's a rise of around 62%. And most of this is coming out of Grayscale, one of the bigger investors in the crypto space. And they are also starting to heavily invest in XRP, where their investments are up around 33%, and Solana, where investments are up around 55%. Whether you like these projects or not, there's a very real reason that they're starting to see big institutional investment right now. One, because of that underdog factor, but because of where we are in the market right now. Now, as we look into this particular chart, and I've showed you this time and time again on this channel, because it's really important to understand that money flows into crypto in different places, different times, different coins. It doesn't just all arrive at once into every coin, and then we just see them all go up, okay? What we will see typically is the bigger caps, Bitcoin, and then into the Ethereums, and now we're starting, in my opinion, to move into that phase 3 of the market cycle. And you can see that in crypto bubbles, with coins like Solana up 50%, XLM up a good 60%, XRP up around 50%. Guys, this is literally phase 3. We are entering into phase 3, and that means that we could start to see a more aggressive push in some of those coins coming up because of this one thing. Now, this is a tweet from Crypto L Prof, who does some really good analysis on both Bitcoin and kind of the overall crypto market, and this is the overall crypto market cap. Now, what we can see here was back in the last bear market, okay? Now, I want you to kind of pay attention to this kind of COVID crash thing here, but that really potentially shouldn't have really happened. This is a black swan event, okay? We may have seen a bit of a pullback, but I think if it wasn't for this, we may have just held support on this moving average and then broken up here. Now you can see where he says we have a retest and then a pump. Look up here where we are currently sat. He's using this indicator down here, so that when there's a big squeeze down here, it's usually a sign of compression. Now you can see as we move into this kind of narrowing wedge, the tighter we get into that narrowing wedge, the more likely a more aggressive move out of that will come, because right now the markets are starting to become a bit more balanced. That means they're not moving aggressively up or down, they're becoming balanced, but eventually that will break out. And what we can see right now is we do look like we could be on the verge of breaking out of this wedge, and it does look like we will be moving towards the upside. This is overall crypto market cap. So we may see a bit of a move up in Bitcoin, but mostly you're going to see a lot of growth in those larger cap coins. You can already see where the money is. Institutions put the money in and they kind of start to move the market. The retailers panic and they start to move in after. We're kind of in that transition phase between the big investments going in and that kind of like fear and excitement and panic stuff that will happen eventually as we see big pumps of like 20-30% in a day, which can happen in the likes of Solana and other coins around that right now. Now, for some time, Bitcoin's been looking a bit uninspiring, but actually, if we look into the Bitcoin chart, then you can see that we are literally, this is a 4-hour chart, sometime tomorrow, so Saturday, for me, where I am right now, or wherever you are, Saturday is Bitcoin meeting up with this downtrend. Now, what that basically means is I think that we are pretty much at a point where Bitcoin's going to have to decide. If it fails to break beyond this and push up aggressively, which I think it would do if it was to break above, well, then guys, I think that we are potentially going to be looking for a significant or a more significant pullback. When I say significant, perhaps, pushing lower down towards these areas here around sort of $26,000. Now, that obviously may happen, may not happen, who knows? But it does look like we are going to be at a point where we're going to have to do something very soon. So that makes sense that we're going to have to pay attention to the other coins in that bracket. Remember, we're in phase 3 potentially, or moving into phase 3, and that's where we're going to see some good gains. But I say good gains. I say good gains because it's important to know that if it is to kind of happen from here, then we're going to see a pump towards the upside. But say that, if Bitcoin does start to slide lower, then we could see a bit of like downside action briefly for the alts. But actually what we could potentially see is money flowing out of Bitcoin, which means that right now, as we see Bitcoin slowly sort of sliding towards the downside, that money is actually flowing in, it seems, into some of those large caps, which is actually looking pretty positive. So as we look at XLM, right now we've got huge kind of wicks towards the upside. This is pretty bearish overall for what's going on in XLM right now. Always be very cautious, right? It's pumped up here, yes, but then it's been sold off very aggressively. Now it does appear that we could be potentially coming back to retest this pattern here on the XLM chart, or we could be at least coming back to retest an area sort of down towards this level. I think if that happens, this would be a very healthy buy zone here, sat around 0.149. Now, obviously, guys, that's some financial advice. I will personally set an alert here, and if it gets back down to this area, then I'm going to look to accumulate more. As I show you time and time again, you see this from the video the other day where we had literally touch points. We identified a buy zone here, and we could potentially see more buying upcoming here. Now, as I mentioned, you don't want to jump in as soon as it hits that line. What you want to do is wait, like here, where it comes back, it tests the zone, and then comes back in to retest the zone, and then that sort of second bite of the cherry is a good indication that you're probably going to see a push out. If you're getting pushes like this, right, then you can identify that this is clearly a buy zone. This is where big money accumulates. Now, XRP, a bit of a funny one. We have obviously seen that enormous shove towards the upside, so it's no sort of mystery that we are seeing a bit of consolidation going on here. Now, this, again, kind of similar a bit to the XLM chart, but actually this, what we're printing right now, could be some form of a bear flag. Now, does that mean that we drop significantly lower? Potentially we could drop back down to retest this level here, which is around 67 cents. So again, if we're getting back into this area, we can see what happened the last time we were pushing out of here. You can see that we got big buys coming out of here. So this would be the second touch, and that for me might be a good accumulation point as well for XRP. Guys, you know as well as I do where these coins have potential to go in the future. That's why we are trying to DCA in at lower levels. And because of the way things are moving, we could potentially be running out of time. Now, it's important to know that if Bitcoin does slide aggressively towards the downside, it's going to move these aggressively down as well. But remember, you never want to be buying all these kind of upward trends. You have to wait for the pullbacks, and then that's when you get it. Okay, same up here. Because here, right, if you bought up here, then you get wrecked. Eventually, you get pulled back down here. And yeah, the price is at some point going to be higher than that, guys. But why not get the very best value that you can get right now? XRP, XLM, I don't care what it is. Next one, we're going to look at Solana. Next on the charts, Solana, looking probably the best out of all three of these when it comes to the charts. Okay, we got this like massive falling wedge down here, and you can see that we nicely rounded off and then broke towards the upside. Now, it does look like we are potentially going to come back again and reach us the top of here. But theoretically, the kind of target for this would be the height of from the top down to this kind of low level here. And you're bringing that to a breakout point, which does interestingly come in line with the high up here, right? And that's at around $31. So obviously, in my opinion, I've told you before, I think Solana is going to be owing towards $400, $500, I think is reasonable. I think that right now, picking up around $24 is great value, but that's in my opinion. Obviously, go away and do your own research. Don't just invest because I've told you what I'm buying around now, or at least preparing to buy. Personally, I won't be buying any more Solana right now because I've already bought a lot of Solana this year. And it's pretty much become one of my main holdings. But potentially, if you were looking to buy, then maybe you can get a little drop down slightly lower. But we are seeing another kind of accumulation level here after this big pump. Maybe there's a good chance that we could just see a continuation going on. So yeah, maybe you could say it's a reasonable little buy zone area right now. anticipating a move further up, but then you obviously run the risk without any significant pullback that you might have a bit of pullback coming on your hands, might have a little bit of pullback. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video today. Do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. See you in the next one.